I'm truly humble for everybody that was able to make it tonight. It means the most to me. Grateful and appreciative. This has contributed to a great cause. I assure you that this is my passion, and I'm committed to this. This is a lifelong journey for me, and I represent not just myself, but those who are also formerly incarcerated, those who will eventually travel down the path that I've been down. I put on a hat for them. This hat, it fits good, and I hold my head with pride, looking to address the barriers and allow them to basically return with a sense of dignity and pride, and the opportunity to turn yourself around with options. So I'm not really going to hold you guys too long. We have a great message coming from our keynote speaker. I'm excited to hear what he's going to bring to us this evening. And I just want to take a moment to present him with the Leadership Award for outstanding vision, dedication, and commitment to excellence. Presented to Mr. J. Real Estate Morrison.
Thank you, Made, and thank you, Tony, and thank you all who are present tonight. I want to say good evening to everyone. Good evening. A little more energy, please. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right. I know them cocktails don't got you like that right now. But I'm really, first and foremost, I want to say I'm thoroughly impressed, and congratulations to Tony Earl Jr. and his whole team. And it's just a passion of my own to try to affect change in our culture and our community, especially for men and women who are ex-offenders who have went through the system and know what that experience is like. So I'll just give you a little bit of background on myself. I am the CEO and founder of the J. Morrison Academy, which is an online real estate investing school that teaches thousands of people throughout the country the skills of real estate investing, starting from scratch. That's been launched since this January. I'm also a real estate expert on NBC's Today Show, a celebrity realtor on Open House NYC on NBC. I've been a realtor for almost 10 years now, licensed New Jersey realtor, real estate developer, investor, house flipper, house buyer, seller, everything else you can think about that comes with real estate, hence the name J. Mr. Real Estate. I've been doing that work for a while, and real estate was actually my segue out of the street, out of the corner, out of the block in Newark, New Jersey, coming into a professional field that I knew nothing about, had no form of training about, but it's something that I took great steps and leaps of faith and have had some tremendous success. So, but what's more important when we talk about perception and we talk about even my level of accomplishments, what means most to me in that, and where my passion and calling came from, is that I realized I'm a 3-time felon. I have 3 felonies in 3 different states. I caught my first felony at 18 years old here in New York on Riverside Drive in Harlem, New York. On my way to see my father, who I sold drugs with in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I was on the way to bring a 1/4 kilo of coke, and I had a loaded .38 handgun. And I got arrested in New York and was facing 3 years of life in prison at 18 years old. I would later plead guilty to a 1 to 3, serve 1 year in prison between Rikers Island and upstate New York. I actually come home through a halfway house in Harlem, New York, and went right back to the streets 2 months later. All jail taught me at 18 years old was how to sell drugs better. And I came home more aggressive. I was a skinny New Jersey kid, locked up in New York, had a lot of money, was very bright in that world. But when I seen the kind of money that some of the bigger kingpin guys are making out of New York, I'm like, man, I'm not doing enough. I gotta get on my grind. A white boy Eddie in Staten Island got a boat. This guy in Brooklyn got a GS 300. I gotta step it up. So I had set higher drug dealing goals for myself coming out of prison. My perception and my perspective on life didn't change. And I would end up a year later catching a secret indictment in New Jersey for a secret cell from a drug block that I had in New Jersey, and then took my show on the road while on parole in New York, out on bail in New Jersey. I would still be hustling, now taking my show on the road to a small town in Maryland called Cumberland, Maryland, where I took my skills and would end up locked up in Maryland about 2 months after being in a small town near West Virginia. I was locked up in Maryland on several drug trafficking charges, including drug trafficking using a handgun, drug trafficking employing minors, drug trafficking, this, that, and the third. So I would bail out from that charge and find myself on bail in Maryland, on bail in New York, on parole in New York, and on bail in New Jersey, and still hustling because now I had to put money away before I go to jail. So this is the life that we committed to, is a life that I chose at that time in my early 20s, and it's really just how I seen the world. And even when my daughter's mom or my family or anyone would come to me, and my mom would literally cry and say, when are you going to stop? Why don't you stop selling drugs? And my thing to everyone was, well, tell me something I can do besides selling drugs where I can live how I want to live, and I'll do it. Until someone can give me an opportunity, give me a way out, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to live and die in these streets. I'm going to get rich or die trying. And I was really committed, as many of us are really brainwashed into believing that those are our options, that we're either going to be a ball player, we're going to be an entertainer, or we'll get some money in the streets. And that really is more than a cliche for a lot of our young men, especially a lot of our young minority men, is that we really believe that. Like, we really buy in from a young age that if I don't make it with this ball, and if I'm not nice enough on a mic or dancing or singing or something, then something's going to give on this block. And we embrace that, and we a lot of us go to time, we go to prison, we do our time. It was actually funny hearing the stories that Tony told. If Nigel and Chris could stand up real quick. These are my proteges from New Jersey, Nigel King and Chris Darden. And they both have made big transitions out of the street as well. But they both laughed when he told their story. I told them the same stories. In New York prison, before you get up from your chow, you must knock on the table first to alert everyone that you're hopping up, or it could be a problem. The first lesson I actually learned about proper manners, even, just sometimes we'll just cough. We'll cough for a sneeze or something. You do that in jail, you cough for somebody's food, you cough for somebody's face, you sneeze in somebody's face. Like, they not having it. It's grown men holding court in jail. And you learn manners real fast. So it's a lot of culture in jail that the average citizen just doesn't know. And for us, like coming out of prison, it really is almost like a fraternity. It's the same as if you were in some sorority fraternity in college or part of some kind of pact. Us, we know the similar circumstances and experience we have to face of what it's like when you get that mail call and they yell your name out loud, or just different things that we go through in that process. But for me, as I tour the country and I speak to schools, I speak to prisons, and just everything I do from an empowerment standpoint, I realize there's a big void in our culture in addressing this issue. And I'll start with a little history, and then I'll get a little bit of church, and then I'll just talk about the actual perception point. And on the history standpoint, when you see what the brother, I think his name was Cornell, who was the video we watched, and what he was speaking about of how they you're free, right? You're free now. You're out in the streets, but you're re-entered, but you're not really re-engaged with society. And society kind of just says, hey, look, you did all this time. You worked for us for free or for 13 cents a day, cutting down trees or making license plates or sweeping, mopping, whatever you did. Right, so you gave us this labor, you did your time, you paid your debt to society, but now we're not going to give you any help in how you transition, which is very, very hard. I was talking to a gentleman, Tony Lewis Jr. in D.C., who does prison reentry. He was telling me how all D.C., anyone who gets locked up in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, they automatically do a federal sentence. There's no state prison in Washington, D.C. So these guys go away to federal prisons all throughout the country, 7 years, 9 years. Then they come back to their communities, and real estate-wise, things have been regentrified. Their old hood, their old neighborhood, their old community is no longer there. It's a target there. And now these guys are trying to figure out 7 years later, how do I adjust? But it's the same pattern that we seen nearly 150 years ago when we were freed from slavery, and got no help or no kind of reparation or no kind of restoration for how we actually act as people once free. After being enslaved for 300 years, working for people for free, being in bondage. Same thing, same pattern. And us trying to get adjusted to in this society. And the reason why I've been so aggressive and have gotten a lot of community partners within hip hop and within professional sports and just have been really, really loud and vocal about us helping our community with this void is because of my faith